Hey guys, it's Nicole. So today we're talking about the gut and how it's related to fat loss in particular. There are a lot of things that the gut is responsible for within the body and our health and our overall functioning. However, we're going to focus on fat loss today, okay? So what is the gut? The gut is basically your GI tract, okay? And it's a lot more complicated than people give it credit for. A lot of people think you just eat, food gets pushed through, and you go to the bathroom, that's it. All right, there's a lot of things that happen when we are processing those foods and the things we put into our mouth. So you want to think of gut flora and the gut bacteria as a community, or compare it to something like a coral reef. Okay, so the coral reef or communities, they require a lot of diversity, requires a lot of color, a lot of different life to support the balance of the coral reef. So when you don't have that yin and yang of the bacteria within your gut, a lot of things start happening. It's kind of a chain reaction, okay? So an overabundance of a particular or a couple different kinds of bacteria in your gut can lead to your body automatically absorbing those calories into your fat cells. Meaning, regardless of how much you continue to cut your calories, regardless of how much exercise and increased activity level you do, even combining both of those together, okay, if you have an overabundance of this particular bacteria in your gut, it's going to automatically shuttle whatever calories, as little or as much, or depending on, it doesn't matter what types of foods you're eating, it's going to shuttle them right to your fat cells. And we see this a lot in people who have been chronically overweight, okay, have been overweight their whole life. People who have done a lot of crash diets, who, let's say, participate in figure competitions, they diet down, increase their activity level, and then all of a sudden they eat a bunch of crappy food and they gain weight, all right? They're very dysfunctional, and they're, metabolically broken, essentially. So when you have an overabundance of this particular bacteria, regardless of what you eat, it's gonna signal to your body to store it as fat, all right? Inflammation of the gut leads to this whole chain reaction that all contributes to fat loss, or fat gain, excuse me. So inflammation systemically can cause the hypothalamus to become inflamed. So what happens when the hypothalamus is inflamed? We become resistant to leptin. Leptin is a hormone that we produce when we've eaten food and our bodies know when we're full. It lets us know, okay, I'm satisfied, I don't need any more, I can stop eating. So what happens when we don't have that signal or we become resistant to it? We're constantly hungry, okay? We have an increased appetite all day that causes us to continue to eat. Even though we have plenty of food in our system, there's plenty of calories to support our function and our performance, our body is not getting that leptin response, so we're always hungry, we're always thinking we're starving, okay? It doesn't matter how often you eat. So insulin resistance is also another one caused by inflammation of the gut, okay? Insulin resistance, we all know that leads to type 2 diabetes, okay? It also leads to fat accumulation, all right? Two really bad things. Leaky gut, okay, contributes to inflammation and kind of go hand in hand. So leaky gut is basically when we develop little holes in the lining of our intestines. And what those little holes do is allows proteins and toxins to leak into our bloodstream. And that causes an inflammatory response, which, again, inflammation, it's very cyclical. Resistance to leptin, insulin resistance, fat accumulation, type 2 diabetes, all right? They say that all disease starts in the gut. Why? Because disease starts with inflammation. We must manage and be aware of our inflammation. All right, so where do we develop this poor gut flora? All right, when does it happen? Basically, it's our modern lifestyle, and it starts as early as childbirth. So what happens when we're born? Now, as a baby who's born through cesarean section, what they miss out on is being delivered through the birth canal. And when they don't pass through the birth canal, they do not have exposure to the bacteria of the mother, okay? So that automatically kind of shortchanges them to build that gut microbe. Also, when they're not breastfeeding as an infant and as a newborn, they're not getting the antibodies, they're not getting the sugars that support the gut microbe and that feed the gut microbe as well. Now, I'm not saying this to make you feel bad about having a cesarean section or breastfeeding. That's your choice. I had a cesarean section. I couldn't help it. It was an emergency. You know, and I had a lot of troubles and struggles with breastfeeding. It was very difficult for me. It was not easy for my son and I. We made it work. But, you know, it's just the facts. So if you had a cesarean section and if you chose not to breastfeed or couldn't breastfeed, whatever it is, that's just more reason to work towards improving your child's diet and lifestyle to support their healthy gut function, okay? So antibiotics, another one that contributes to wiping out gut flora, okay? It kills bacteria, which means it kills a lot of the good and bad bacteria. It throws it off. Remember that imbalance, the yin and yang, what happens? We have an overabundance of one. It's kind of a chain reaction. Okay, pain relievers, non-steroidal pain relievers, or anti-inflammatories. We've known for a long time that this causes gastritis, okay? And gastritis is kind of an extreme case, so a lot of doctors say, oh, well, it's very extreme. It's okay to take, you know, over the counter. No, it's not okay to regularly take over-the-counter anti-inflammatories. Why? Because they contribute to leaky gut. They slowly break away at the lining of our intestines, causing those holes, allowing the proteins to get out to the bloodstream. Not good. That all causes inflammation as well. Diets high in refined carbs and sugars and processed foods. Okay, bad for the gut, causes inflammation. Diets low in fermentable fibers. Okay, this is when we see people that don't have a lot of color in their diet, okay? They don't have the good fibrous vegetables and starch from plants and vines. So you need to try to get in more sweet potatoes, yucca, yams, bananas, things like that. Dietary toxins like processed wheat and seed oils, all right? Seed oils eaten regularly causes leaky gut. We all know what happens with leaky gut. All right, chronic stress. Stress can mean a bunch of different things, whether it's physical stress, meaning not getting enough sleep or high quality sleep, meaning over exercising, okay? Exercising is a stressor, okay? It's a stimulus that we place on ourselves in order to adapt and grow stronger from it, all right? Now, what happens if we are over exercising and not able to recover from that training, that exercise? It becomes too stressful for our bodies and it actually becomes detrimental, all right? So I need you to understand that yes, exercise is so important to your health and wellness. Resistance training, you know, training the different cardiovascular, metabolic conditioning. However, your training is only as effective as your ability to recover from it. And I'll say that again. Your training is only as effective as your ability to recover from it, all right? If you're eating well, if you're sleeping well, if you're drinking plenty of water, then go for it, all right? But there is such a thing as exercising too much, all right? So that's basically physical stress. Chronic stress can also be mental stress, right? Stress from your social life, your family, you have a very stressful career or workplace. Those are all things that are really detrimental to your physical well-being. Chronic infections, all right? Chronic infections often lead to a lot of inflammation, which often leads to us having to take antibiotics. Leaky gut, we've already talked about this. Leaky gut is what causes poor gut function, all right? Inflammation, inflammatory response of the body. So how do we work towards fixing and eliminating poor gut function? We have to work towards getting rid of this list, okay? That means with starting with your food. It all starts with food, okay? Preventing and treating disease should start first and foremost with what you are consuming and eating and drinking. So if you are not focusing on your food quality and if you're so worried about counting calories, you're moving in the wrong direction, okay? You need to focus on eating lean meats, okay? Eating fibrous vegetables. You should have a lot of color in your diet, okay? Natural color. You should be eating things from trees and vines and from the ground, fruits and vegetables. The more bold the color, the more nutritious. They say that, you know, like the darker the greens, the healthier it is. Eating leafy greens is one of the healthiest foods you can have in your diet. So eat a lot of color. Also, don't be afraid of healthy fats, okay? Eat the yolks of eggs. I'm so tired of seeing everyone eating egg whites and egg beaters and egg replacements. Ugh, stuff's gross. Eat the yolks. Dietary cholesterol does not cause cardiovascular disease like we've been lied about for years. Eat the yolks. Eat avocados. Cook and use olive oil and coconut oil, okay? Cashews, macadamia nuts. All right, so what's another thing we can do aside from improving our quality of foods? We can take some probiotics, okay? You want to get the refrigerator probiotics, and you want to alternate those. You want to get different strands. Again, it's about the yin and yang, right? We need a large diversity of microbes. So make sure you are switching out the different probiotics that you take each month, rotate them, get different strands. Fermented foods is also a great way to support your health of your gut. Fermented foods, kefir, all right? We need to get some sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, all fermented foods, all awesome. Have a little bit every day, some throughout the week. Another thing you can do to improve your gut health is to drink or eat broth. Bone broth, the collagen from bones is really, really healing to the gut, especially if you suffer from leaky gut. It actually heals the lining of your intestines. So yeah, there we have it. Again, this is just very brief. It's very general about the gut related to fat loss and fat storage. I will continue to make some more videos on gut function and how it relates to your thyroid, hormones, depression, anxiety, things like that. So feel free to leave some comments, ask me a question. Make sure you guys check out the rest of my videos and any of my other blog posts on thebarbellbombshell.com. See ya.